Yo, what's good? The last two nights, I've made sure I went to bed like on time. Last night I got in bed at 12:30 and had my meditation music, but I was struggling to get sleep. Like I just couldn't get sleep. I kept tossing and turning, stuff like that. I think it took me from 12:30 to like maybe 2:30 to get sleep, so 2 hours, and I was just listening to my meditation music. So while that was happening, I just thought of some content ideas, and I quickly written down in my notes for different platforms. Because obviously I posted that video of me being upset to my YouTube, but not only that, my TikTok and Instagram. And it's good because, yeah, I'm getting that content out there, but me just sitting there crying in front of the camera isn't really content, where I'm actually like talking to the camera. It's just me, obviously, being visually upset. I'm obviously glad I posted that video, but the reason why I posted that is to continue my short form content, but I haven't posted anything. And it's like, at the moment, I just can't be asked to edit these videos, as in short form content videos. But at the same time, if I post it raw footage, at least I'm actually still posting it, getting it out there. But it would be nice to have it edited. But the reason why I like YouTube so much is because I can say everything I want and I can feel satisfied because I can list it all off because I have a longer period of time to speak. I can do long videos on TikTok and Instagram, but then it's like, what's the point? I got my YouTube. That's why I want it to be the condensed versions of what I talk about in these videos, or just different topics in general. But I wrote down a few videos for like different apps and what apps I want to put them on. So this is just leading into this video today, which is about, I feel like I'm going backwards to some degree. And before we get into that, let me have some water. This is really cold, geez. Literally just go out of the fridge. Anyway, yeah, so obviously we spoke about in the previous videos how for the last 2.5 years, I just feel like I haven't progressed all that much. And that's because one of my goals, or the goal that I'm fixated on the most, is getting money, because I have a foundation for a lot of the other things. Of course, there's always more to be done, and then there's always more to do to improve. But that's partially why I feel like I'm stuck. So if we rewind about 5-6 years ago when it was like lockdown and I first started seeing the world differently and I started improving my life, this was about like year 11. So when that happened, I had so much more to do. I like started meditating, started journaling, manifesting affirmations, gaining my confidence, started doing new activities, started doing like different things, going gym. Like I started doing things I've never done before. So it boosted me up because I was actually pushing myself doing new things. But now where I have that foundation, it's gone up, and now I've hit like a plateau. Like I've just hit a wall. So I'm like this. I've still got the foundation. I'm still doing all that stuff with extra things added. Because there's things that I tried a few times, but now is a part of my consistent daily routine. So back then I'd done yoga twice. And you can say yoga's kind of like stretching, and I do stretching in my daily routine. And it's like, I read here and there, I meditated here and there, I journaled here and there. I didn't do none of these things like consistently, just be like when I felt like it type thing. So I've always done it since I've been like improving my life and seeing the world differently. But it wasn't like a daily routine like it is now. And there was a few things that I didn't do ages ago that I'm doing now. So it's like, because I've built a foundation and gained all of this stuff under my belt, I know I had to do bigger and better things, like I was saying, to push myself. But these things I'm struggling to do just because of my nerves, because I'm scared, just overwhelming emotions of just not knowing what's going to happen, what people got overthinking or anxiety. So if we deep it on another level, the reason why I feel I'm going backwards is because I used to preach, well, I'm going to call this the spiritual phase, because obviously you've heard of the term spirituality, but the reason why I do this is because it's just like labels, but it's just for this video for easier context to understand. So when I first started seeing the world differently, it was something so new to me. I got so happy. I was blinded by self-love because I never experienced self-love. I was doing these things that were making me generally happy in life, and I've never experienced, and it was just giving me a new feeling. And when I look back on these times, it was like, I call it the spiritual phase, because I only had that one set of knowledge. I wasn't looking at history or like politics or stuff to do with money. I used to think money was like the root of all evil, and like it was demonic and stuff like that. I've had many different beliefs in many different things, and my beliefs and thoughts change all the time because you're always learning. And it's like, I still agree and believe in literally everything I believed in then, pretty much. But obviously, there's a lot of things I've seen in a different perspective, or I have a totally different view on, or slightly different view on. But what I'm trying to get at here is, I see it as the spiritual phase, where I was trapping myself in this one circle of just like spiritual and woke knowledge and stuff like that. And I used to be like arrogant, so I'd walk around and just be like, I don't care what people think, like you're perfect type thing, or I'm perfect. Not to be like, oh yeah, I'm perfect, but to preach about like how we are like perfect, how we are. And when I'd be like, oh, I don't care what people think, da 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 da, I do agree with that, like you shouldn't let it bother you. But at the same time, now I see it in a more realistic tone. People will always care what you think, whether that's good or bad. If someone makes a song, they want you to listen because they care about, obviously, your feedback. Someone makes a book, it's the same thing. Someone makes a clothing brand and they're trying to start it like into a trend that a lot of people wearing similar clothes to. They're doing that because they care about your opinions and what you'll like. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean you're caring in a bad way, but you still care. We live in a physical world where there's labels and judgment everywhere we go. You can't not judge. You can't not... Do you know what I mean? It's just literally not going to happen. You can't not care what people think. So now I see it in a more realistic way. It's kind of harder for me to do these bigger pushes. So when I was like, I don't care what people think, I would do more adventurous stuff. Like, I'd be more curious. Like, I would just walk around the woods and just go and spend time with nature freely. Now I always go out for purpose. It's got to be gym, to my girlfriends, shops, to my friends, like to meet up with them, like to go here. It's not just, let me just walk out my door and go wherever. I used to do that all the time, and I used to do like things that I never did and just did them because it's like I was actually gaining confidence. Because I was so broken, I would cry to go into school. I would cry to like put my hand up in class. I would hold in my toilet because I wouldn't want to ask for. I would just be broken kid who was so insecure beyond anything you can imagine. You can resonate if like you've been in a similar situation. You know how it feels to just hate yourself. You might still hate yourself. This is why I do these videos, just to not only look back on, but for people to resonate. But anyway, moving forward. So it's like, now I see it in a more realistic way. It was round about when I started gym, just a little bit before that. I started seeing things way differently in a realistic sense instead of like a spiritual sense. 'Cause I used to like just see things only in a spiritual way, except the knowledge I was looking at. And me and my friend, my best friend, we didn't speak to each other for a couple months because he wanted to stop speaking to build my independence. And during that time, that's kind of when I was like kind of changing. And now I look back on it, I didn't realize it at the time, but now I look back on it, I was kind of changing. And when I started gym, it's kind of like my brain matured and I started seeing things in a realistic physical sense. So it's like, because I know people will always care what you think, it's kind of making it harder for me. So it's like, if I go to a dance club, it's kind of like, like, you know, like just that feeling. Or I want to go boxing, but it's like my pride, you know, I don't want to lose the fight and stuff like that. And then, you know, but I'm thinking of all this without even starting it. Actually, I have danced the last 3 days since I've started adding it to my routine. Been doing it for 5 minutes. I've recorded myself doing it one time, literally in front of that mirror. It's been fun. That's something else I've added to my routine. But yeah, it's like I've done all this stuff and now I'm just here. I've hit a plateau. And a lot of my goals come from money if I want to continuously do it. So obviously boxing, I could try it out. I could try out a dance club. I'd only like to continuously do it. Say if I try it, just see how it is, and they'd be like, yeah, I want to do this, let me, like, I don't know, either start it off slowly, maybe like once a week, or just wait until I get a job. I haven't even tried it, is what I'm trying to get at. So even the things that I can do for free, I'm not trying because I'm like just overwhelmed, scared and nervous. And even if there's goals that come from money, I'm struggling to get a job despite all my efforts. So it's like I feel like I'm going backwards because, yes, I'm keeping up with my routine, but I don't see that as discipline because it's natural. I do it because I like it. It's fun. It's my lifestyle. Like, I love meditation. I love doing these things. Obviously, there's times where I've not done it when I generally just didn't want to. Like the other video I said, obviously I haven't been feeling the greatest lately, so I just couldn't be asked to stretch for a few days, and I didn't. You know what I mean? Obviously, there's been like hiccups where I've not done like the stuff like when I was gaming. Obviously, it was really sloppy. All the stuff I was doing, I was rushing it, I was skipping it. But these things become natural because like I enjoy it, and the things that you find really, 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 really hard, you won't do because it's that hard. And this is why in my video when I said what true discipline is, so it's like I find like obviously talking to people like most of the time really hard to do, just to go and talk to them. But I don't always talk to people because I know how hard it is. Say if I said I'm a disciplined person, this and that, my discipline would carry me to go and do that. But it's not, because say if you have an ounce of you wanting to do it a little bit, that's enough to carry your like thoughts to go and do it. Discipline, I feel like, is when you really literally just don't want to. There's no ounce of you wanting to do it. Because if there's an ounce of you wanting to do it even a tiny bit, that can be enough to carry you to go and do that thing. And then is it really discipline because you actually have a feeling of wanting to do it? But I guess you could say like, well, it is discipline, and I've spoke to people got different like perspectives, because people say I'm disciplined for doing my routine, but that's why I say it's fun and it's natural and it's a lifestyle. It's just normal. I don't see it as discipline because it's not hard. But yeah, I just feel like I'm going backwards because I'm doing the same stuff and I'm not adding anything to my routine, because I'm trying to think like, what can I really add? Obviously I can change it around, you know, do things at different times and stuff like that. But it's like, I've built this foundation and now I'm here. It's good that I'm keeping up with it. But at the same time, 2.5 years of applying for a job and nothing's got back to me. It's like, I've tried in every way possible. But I also say, you are the problem and the solution to all your problems. And you are in control of your reality. So if I'm sitting here saying this and that and I can't get a job, then it must be for a deeper reason. One of my friends, he came out the other day and said it took him 4 years to get a job, and I was like, whoa, because it's taken me 2.5 years and I still haven't got one. It took him 4. I didn't realise how long he was applying. So yeah, but that's like the only other case I can think of where it's taken someone ages to get a job. Obviously, I know people where it's taken them like a while, but not 2.5 years, like type thing. Like, no way. So that's why I'm like, when I've just been thinking to myself, do I start a business? Do I start trying to reinvest it? But it's like, I get £300 a month. I'm grateful for that money, but at the same time, I feel like with some of the things I want to do and stuff like that, it will go quickly. Because say if I want to take my girlfriend out on like a date, or I want to just buy something for me, and then like I got birthdays coming up or like stuff like that, and it's like, it can go really quickly. Most of the time I just spend it on clothes, food, water, on my girlfriend and me, literally. That's it. But I guess you could say you could start with the £300 you got now, but I just feel like I'd rather have a stable source of income with more money. Not to be greedy or anything, it's just I want to bulk. Obviously, I want to bulk up for the gym, get more food, eat more food. And then I want to do, obviously, like a boxing club or something like that. And then, like, say if I want to be like a PT, and maybe I try and do a website, or I try and do like a photography website or something. You know what I mean? It's like, if I'm putting in this money, I'd rather have more to my name so I can try more, rather than doing it, being stuck for a month, and then the next month comes and then I can work on it again. You know what I mean? I'm not an expert when it comes to like making money, obviously. I ain't even got a job. But it's kind of like, what do I do? Because it's like, despite what I'm doing or what I've done and how much I'm trying to get a job, it obviously just naturally grinds in your gears. Despite, I believe everything happens for a reason and everything's in alignment, it still grinds my gears, because it's like, it's been 2.5 years, like, everything happens for a reason. What is the reason that I'm not getting a job? Do you know what I mean? It's like, do I generally start something without needing a job? Or is it like, is it like a test for my patience to see how long I'm willing to wait for a job? But at the same time, it's like, time's ticking. I believe I can do these things, but this is like a big barrier. My girlfriend already wants to get married. She would happily get married. She already wants to have kids. So it's like, if I'm trying to have myself where I'm developed financially and just having the fundamentals and the foundation heightened before I get married or before I have kids, it's going to take a little longer, because I'm being stopped from my progress, because not only of my own fears and just nerves, but because I can't get a job to kickstart things that I need money for. So it's like, it's going to be hard and it's going to take time. And it's like relationships where you understand each other and you come together and respect each other's wishes. If I'm sitting there grinding, trying to do all this stuff, and my girlfriend already wants a child or to get married now, and I'm nearly 21 and she's 20, say if it takes 10 years, you know what I mean? I will respect her wishes in a relationship, the same as how she does for me. So it's like, that's kind of why I'm like, I want it to like hurry up a bit now, because I believe I can do these things, but at the same time I'm being held back by not getting a job, because that's branching me out to a lot of different goals that I have. So I just feel like I'm holding myself back, and I'm also being held back to some degree. So that's why I feel like I'm going backwards. Maybe not necessarily backwards. I guess you could say it's like I'm not progressing, but I kind of just see it as the same thing. Well, the reason why I feel like I'm going backwards to some degree is because the talking to people part, kind of finding it harder now than it was then, because of how much I progressed and how much more I've got to do. But it's like, it's all good, like testing patience, everything happens for a reason, but no one wants to sit and wait for money or sit and wait for their goals. Of course not. Especially when, I say things are in your control, but I feel like with the job thing, I've generally tried as much as I can and just still no luck. So it's like, time's moving, I want to start a family, experience life, do these different things, and it's just like, things aren't happening. But I'm going in circles now, so I'm going to end the video here. It's about to be 20 minutes, and my iCloud storage is going to interrupt the video, so I'll end it before that happens. But that's pretty much everything I wanted to say. My throat is really dry. Obviously, like I said, I've got some more content ideas for the future videos to do. Try and go for my camera roll, get some more storage, but yeah, I'll see you lot later. Have a good day.